I keep seeing Stephanie Jenkins making videos saying, I don't think you guys like have an actual problem with me. Everybody that doesn't like me, I don't think it's actually a problem with me. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You know why, Stephanie? Because you are choosing to put your children in the situation that you are because you refuse to unload what we call Drew Jenkins. Somebody who refuses to work, who refuses to put his family in a decent place. You sit there and co-sign all of the bull. Yes, Stephanie, it's you.
You know where Stephanie went wrong in all of this, where her downfall truly is her underestimating the internet's hate for her. We all know, that woman knows that she monetizes off of the hate. That's why she does a ton of rage baiting. A lot of her views are hate watchers. A lot of her comments are hateful comments. Like, she knows that she is like the #1 hated mom on this app. But what she didn't realize is that while yes, the internet hates you and it puts money in your pocket, she didn't think that the internet hated her enough to flood that GoFundMe and make sure that Deshaun's real mom was able to get a lawyer to pluck Deshaun out of that living environment. No, she didn't. And neither did Drew. They didn't expect this. They didn't think about this. They're not that smart. They're not that smart.
So, this time, it looks like TikTok is done playing games with Stephanie Jenkins. And instead of reflecting on the long list of reasons why her content might be losing steam, Stephanie came up with something wild. She thinks she is being shadow banned for talking about Congo. Yes, Congo. Let's talk about how we got here, because this isn't just a simple misunderstanding. It's part of a pattern, a disturbing one. That's finally catching up to her. Stephanie recently posted a video claiming that TikTok is shadow banning her. She believes the ban kicked in right after she made a video talking about the Democratic Republic of Congo, a country currently facing deep humanitarian and political issues. In her video, she said she was raising awareness about the suffering of children there. She positioned herself as someone speaking up for voiceless kids, standing in solidarity with a global issue. And almost immediately after posting, she noticed her views dropped. Her likes dropped, comments slowed down. So in her mind, the only explanation? TikTok must be punishing her for speaking up for African children. But let's slow down for a second. That's not how this works. TikTok doesn't just shadow ban people for mentioning a crisis or supporting a cause. The platform is full of creators advocating for serious issues, and they don't all get penalized for it. The truth is, Stephanie's reach didn't start shrinking with that one video. Her numbers had already been sliding downhill for a while now, and it has absolutely nothing to do with advocacy. What's really happening here is something much more personal and much more uncomfortable. People are exhausted. They're tired of watching the same pattern over and over. Stephanie using her kids as content, presenting struggle as storytelling, and never showing any meaningful change. It's become a cycle. Chaos, poverty, emotional confessionals, and then nothing. No improvement, no steps forward, just a rise and repeat of dysfunction. And viewers started noticing. They realized their engagement, even when negative, was still keeping her relevant. That every comment, good or bad, still helped push her videos. They saw that she wasn't using the money she earned to get her kids out of a cramped motel room into a better life. Instead, they felt like they were fueling someone who had no intention of changing. So, they stopped watching.
I'm gonna call you out on that right now, TikTok, because you start shadow banning my account the minute I start speaking up on Congo. That's not cool.
Stephanie, they're not shadow banning you because of that. I could tell you about 100 other reasons why TikTok might shadow ban you. I don't think it's because of that video. If you were going to be shadow banned, it probably should have been when you abandoned those cats, or how you are keeping that little boy away from his mother when you can't even provide him home, or when you had your kids sleeping on foam mattresses, or when you go online and you say you're not going to get a job and that you're going to be self-employed while you live in a motel room with 7 kids, or when you said you wanted more children and you have 5 kids living in a motel room. Yeah, I could go on and on about the other reasons why you probably would be shadow banned. I just don't think that video was it, Steph. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments.
I'm gonna call you out on that right now, TikTok, because you start shadow banning my account the minute I start speaking up on Congo. That's not cool.
Stephanie might feel like TikTok is targeting her unfairly, But really, this is what happens when people finally stop enabling the behavior. When the support, whether love or hate, dries up. When people decide that enough is enough. Stephanie used to get views, not from loyal fans or people who admired her parenting, but mostly from an audience that was watching in shock. People tuned in to see the chaos. They watched her for the drama, the dysfunction, and to point out the inconsistencies. Her views came from disbelief, not support. It was what many call hate watching, where people don't like you, but they still watch everything you post. Even that was benefiting her. Every view, every outraged comment, every stitch or duet, even if they were meant to call her out, still helped push her content. And that meant more money, more exposure, more influence. But the real problem? That money wasn't going towards fixing anything. Not the kids' living situation, not their daily needs, not their emotional or physical well-being. Instead, the content became a loop. Struggle, sympathy, outrage, repeat. But over time, even the crowd began to wise up. Why? Because people started realizing that even their negative engagement was part of it. They were unintentionally fueling her platform, keeping her visible and supporting a lifestyle that was hurting the very kids she claimed to protect. People looked around and realized nothing was changing. The same cramped room, the same worn-out kids, the same excuses. So they stopped watching. And now that the views are dropping, Stephanie isn't reflecting. She's not asking, what can I do better? Instead, she's pointing fingers. She blames TikTok. She says it's censorship. She says it's a shadow ban. But in reality, people just got tired of watching kids struggle while their mom turned it into content.
I keep seeing Stephanie Jenkins making videos saying, I don't think you guys have an actual problem with me. Everybody that doesn't like me, I don't think it's actually a problem with me. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You know why, Stephanie? Because you are choosing to put your children in the situation that you are because you refuse to unload what we call Drew Jenkins. Somebody who refuses to work, who refuses to put his family in a decent place. You sit there and co-sign all of the bullshit. Yes, Stephanie, it's you. There's plenty things he's done, but there's plenty things you've done, honey. I don't know when you're going to realize, but who you choose as your significant other has a huge impact on your life and your children's lives. And the fact that you are choosing to stay in this situation is wild. And that is what a lot of people have an issue with. So yes, it is you, babes.
Let's talk TikTok guidelines. Even if TikTok did shadow ban her, the Congo video would be the least of their concerns. There are actual reasons, serious ones, that might explain why her content isn't being pushed anymore. Let's break it down. Number 1, child exploitation. Stephanie constantly uses her children as content props, especially the youngest, Booba. She often talks about his supposed autism without any medical confirmation and films him while he's overstimulated or acting out just to support the narrative she's pushing. It's not educational. It's not awareness. It's exploitation. She frames these moments as real-life parenting, but to many, it looks like she's cashing in on her son's vulnerable moments. Even worse, she continues to put Deshaun on camera, despite a court order that explicitly told her not to do so. That's not just a TikTok guide violation. That's a legal one. 2, dangerous living conditions. Every day, she posts videos from the same cramped single motel room where her family of 7 is living. We've seen the piles of laundry, cluttered floor space, and barely any room for the kids to move or play safely. Sometimes, the room looks chaotic and unsanitary, conditions that most people wouldn't want to sleep in, let alone raise children in. Instead of taking steps to improve the space or move into something more stable, she turns the mess into content. It's not a documentary, it's not awareness, it's a lifestyle she's monetizing. 3, misleading information. TikTok is strict when it comes to spreading false or misleading claims. And Stephanie's videos are full of them. For example, she claimed Boba is on the autism spectrum, yet there is no record of actual diagnosis. She also said she and Drew won't work because jobs take 10 years of your life, which is not only false but harmful message to a platform filled with young viewers. Then there is her ongoing claim that motel life is somehow a better choice than getting an apartment, despite it being overcrowded, unsafe, and clearly not suitable for a family with young children. These types of claims can easily be flagged as misinformation, and TikTok has every right to suppress that kind of content. Rage baiting. Stephanie's content often seems crafted to poke at people's nerves, to stir up emotion and keep her name trending. One of the clearest examples is when she said very confidently that housing wasn't an immediate need for her kids. Not only did this shock viewers, it genuinely upset many of them. These are people who had been begging her in her comment sections week after week to prioritize stable housing. People who watched her kids living in one room without personal space, proper beds, or privacy. To say housing isn't necessary? This wasn't a casual remark. It was bait. And it worked. The backlash was immediate. People started duetting her video, stitching it, and dragging her across TikTok. The engagement on that post video exploded. Not because people agreed, but because they were outraged. And Stephanie knows how this game works. She's done it before. Say something controversial, then sit back and collect the views. But here's the problem. TikTok isn't just about views anymore. The platform has gotten smarter. It watches for content that feels manipulative. Content that's designed to enrage, not engage. And when that kind of pattern shows up, like someone constantly saying shocking things just to get reaction, it flags it as what it is, rage bait. That kind of manipulation, TikTok doesn't like it, and it might be one of the reasons Stephanie's content is no longer being pushed the way it used to be. 5. User report. This one might be the biggest reason of all, and possibly the most damaging. TikTok pays attention when its users speak up, and in Stephanie's case, the reports aren't just coming in, they are pouring in. She's being reported for several major issues that concern viewers deep, showing Deshaun on camera even though there is a legal court order telling her not to. This isn't just a privacy issue, it's a direct violation of a legal boundary. Repeatedly violating her children's privacy, showing them in vulnerable moments or filming them during meltdowns, tantrums, and personal conversation. And without
So earlier this afternoon, I was doing some
keeping
things
her
on my phone,
kids
and I
in
saw this
clear
comment pop up, and it
homelessness
said,
while
"She's
seemingly
really back in the
spending
kitchen
her money
already."
she
Now,
earns
9 times out of
online
10, I don't spend
on
very much time
anything
on my
her
comment
needs.
section because it's just
Viewers
riddled with,
have
like,
noted
honestly, the
how
amount of evil I see in not only
children
my
are
comment
rarely
section,
seen
but
in
just in
clean
comment
clothes,
sections in general on
rarely
social
taken
media
to
make me
fun
think the good
places,
Lord needs to do
and
another
living
flood.
a
So yes, I'm
semi-tame
back in the
life.
kitchen with my
You know where Stephanie went wrong in all of this, where her downfall truly is her underestimating the internet's hate for her. We all know, that woman knows that she monetizes off of the hate. That's why she does a ton of rage baiting. A lot of her views are hate watchers. A lot of her comments are hateful comments. Like, she knows that she is like the number one hated mom on this app. But what she didn't realize is that while yes, the internet hates you and it puts money in your pocket, she didn't think that the internet hated her enough to flood that GoFundMe and make sure that Deshaun's real mom was able to get a lawyer to pluck Deshaun out of that living environment. No, she didn't. And neither did Drew. They didn't expect this. They didn't think about this. They're not that smart. They're not that smart. And her leaving that hateful comment about Deshaun's mom, this is rage baiting. Drew not bringing Deshaun to see his mother. Drew getting on live and talking about Deshaun not really want to see his mother. That's all rage baiting. That's all for them to get views. But again, they didn't realize, or they didn't think that that GoFundMe was going anywhere, because before Drew missing that visit, it was only at like $1,000. Now it's been 10K plus, and people are still donating. My ass is going to go donate again this week. Already donated, because we hate you that much. You're not a fit mom. You're not Deshaun's mom. And we don't want to see you win at this point. We want to see those kids win, not you and not Drew. And Deshaun is winning when he's back with his mother. So Stephanie, you should have thought better. You should have did better. You wanted to go viral, boo? You did it in a way to exploiting your family and their living situation, and then you realize that that's how you get the views, so you continue to exploit your family, exploit y'all's living situation, and now guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna lose your meal ticket. You're gonna lose your meal ticket, and you're probably gonna lose that man. That man ain't finna stay with you, girl. He not gonna stay with you after his son is gone. He gonna leave you with them 4 kids, because technically the daughter and the son that you had with him, that's not his children. You're still married to that pedo in prison, so technically that's his children. Yep. Your hate, Stephanie, is now your downfall.
Abandoning her cats in a previous apartment after years of raising them indoors, then proudly filming their eviction like it was a flex, not an act of neglect. And the viewers didn't stay quiet. They acted. People openly discussed reporting her videos, especially the ones with Deshaun, urging others to do the same. Not out of hate, but out of concern. Concern for a child's safety, well-being, and the right to privacy. The more user reports stack up, the more likely it is that TikTok's algorithm will suppress her content. Shadow bans aren't always announced, but when a platform sees content that repeatedly crosses ethical or legal lines, and its own user base starts flagging the content regularly, it responds. And Stephanie might finally be feeling the weight of those consequences now. Stephanie's deflection game. Stephanie's claim that TikTok is shadow banning her for talking about Congo is just a distraction. It's a convenient excuse, one that lets her paint herself as a truth teller being silenced instead of someone facing the consequences of her own choices. It's the same pattern we've seen over and over. When things go wrong, Stephanie shifts the blame. Let's be honest, if TikTok shadow banned her, it wouldn't be because she said the word Congo. It would be because she crossed nearly every line the platform has drawn. This is someone who turns her children's hardest moments into monetized clips. Instead of helping them off camera, she puts their lives, their meltdowns, struggles on full display for strangers to consume. And it's not out of advocacy, it's out of desperation for content. Poverty has become her brand, controversy has become her strategy, and instead of protecting her kids, she's using them to stay relevant. Now that people are pulling back, now that the algorithm isn't working in her favor, she's spiraling. She doesn't want to admit the real reason things are falling apart. So, she reaches for a cause that sounds noble, talking about Congo, to mask the very real damage she's done right in her own home. But the truth is, this isn't about censorship. It's about accountability. And for the first time, it looks like Stephanie is running out of places to hide. What happens next? Stephanie's downfall isn't sudden. It didn't happen overnight or because of one viral post. It's been coming for a long time. Every video, every comment section full of concerned viewers, every ignored suggestion to get her children into stable housing, it all added up. People started connecting the dots. They realized their views and clicks weren't helping a struggling mom. They were helping someone stay comfortable in dysfunction. They were enabling someone who chose content over care, profit over protection. And TikTok? It might finally be reflecting that shift. The algorithm, the user reports, the community's withdrawal of support, it's all catching up. Stephanie isn't just losing followers, she's losing the benefit of the doubt. If this really is the beginning of the end of her platform, it has nothing to do with speaking about Congo. That was just a convenient cover. The real reason? She neglected what mattered most. Not the algorithm, not the content, her own kids. Stephanie Jenkins blaming TikTok for her own downfall is just the latest twist in a much longer story. One filled with excuses, finger pointing, and zero accountability. Over and over, we've seen her avoid responsibility by hiding behind distractions. This time, it's Congo. Next time, who knows? But the pattern stays the same. She wants people to believe she's a whistleblower being punished for telling the truth. But the truth that viewers see is different. They see kids stuck in unstable conditions, being filmed for content instead of being protected. They see a mother who refuses to change anything that truly matters, all while continuing to upload daily chaos and call it life. And at some point, people had enough. Enough of the manipulation, enough of the false narratives, enough of watching children suffer in plain sight while their mother cries Shadowban. That's not advocacy. That's exploitation masked as struggle. So, what do you think? Is this finally it for Stephanie's TikTok era? Or will she speed up a new crisis, a new distraction, and another round of victimhood to keep the attention coming? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to stay updated as this story keeps unfolding, because yes, it's definitely still unfolding, make sure to like and subscribe, because this isn't just the end of a storyline. It might just be the start of some long overdue accountability.